Hello, and welcome back to the Cooper de Villa podcast. I'm Scott Cooper, and we are back to talk about Aston Villa's trip to Ellen Road to play Leeds United. It was 3 more points. It's 3 wins in the row. It was 3-0, and there's just the three of us. So we'll be talking about the game and everything else after this. Okay, so we were back in the midweek Premier League match. We are going away to Yorkshire to play Leeds United, who are struggling with their, potential relegation. They got their new American.
They're just Leeds. Leeds are just shit. Just say that, Scott. Leeds are just shit.
are
We went
shit.
there.
We
made
don't
them
like
more
them.
shit.
We don't like
We
them.
don't.
And we
Gabby
went
Bonner
there-
certainly
Leeds.
doesn't like them.
He doesn't. And we went there and we stuffed them. So, maybe they will go
Unreal.
down, and Ted Lasso will have to go back to America. But who knows? But it was a great.
Bonlahor doesn't like half our players, so he's no real great judge, is he?
No, and sometimes he's a little bit cringe, old Gabby, when he's on the talk sport. But I did like the banter the other night, and I also liked the first half, boys, and especially little Philip Coutinho back amongst the goals. Tommy, it was a great start. We gave them nothing. We sort of weathered the storm for about 20 minutes, and then Matty Cash, who I thought was my man of the match.
I think he was everyone's.
Yeah, it was a brilliant run down the right, good cut back, and Coutinho was there. Not his greatest finish, but it went in.
I think that's what happens when, I think Ings across that whizzed across the face of Ali was unlucky, and then Cash has just reacted fast enough, pulls it back. I think there was a dummy by Ings, if I'm correct, and then Coutinho's just slotted in, took a fortuitous deflection. But he's in incredible form. I think since joining the Prem, only Harry Kane has more goals assists, if I'm correct. Since right. Coutinho's joined, and I think that says a lot. So, look, I know we might have to pay some ridiculous wages. I don't know how big of a pay cut he'll need to take to join Villa. I think he'd probably need to be in the minimum 150K mark. And I think that's going to be a sign towards other players that want to come to Villa that, hey, we actually do have money. And, I think Jack was our highest earner previously. And I don't want to say he's better than Jack, but I do put him above Jack at the moment, just based on impact.
I think he's consistently been better.
And we're saying he's technically past his prime, and he's still putting up these performances. And I think he maybe still in his prime, and he just maybe a bit of lack of performances. He just never really got to consistently flourish. He's always been super. I think for Liverpool, everyone said he's great, but he goes missing in some of the big games, and then he'll score a worldie occasionally. But I think for us, he's been super consistent, and maybe because he's the best player in the team by far, he stands out even more. And I really think he's starting to flourish at Villa. And I do hope that we can secure him as soon as possible. It seems that we're not shy to, snap Barca's arm up for 40 million. I think that's peanuts in today's market.
Absolutely. I mean, I think Steven Gerrard said it in his post-match interview that if it was his money, he would do it right now. But he said it's a bit more complicated than that. Coutinho is going to have to want to come to us, and we're going to have to find that wage. I think it might be closer to 200 grand a week.
Yeah.
But I mean, we are a club that's looking up, and we want to do something. So why? I think he's worth it. I mean, if Grealish was getting paid 100, 150, whatever he was being paid, why not? And yeah, I mean, I think in this game, it really showed his maturity, Coutinho, in that he wasn't great for the 90 minutes or the 75 minutes he was on the field, but just in those key moments, he popped up when we really needed him. Troy, how did you see his first half and just the whole side?
Well, his work rate is fantastic. Just like, if we're going to compare with Jack Grealish, he gets back and he puts in a shift defensively, probably not quite as much as Jack. But, there was a situation at one stage where he was surrounded by 4 Leeds players. And whereas I think Jack had try and fancy his way out of it and drive forward, Coutinho just backheeled it out of trouble. And the commentator, the female commentator that we had here in Australia, I don't know what it was like for the rest of the world, but she just sort of said, the guy's got eyes in the back of his head.
Yeah.
And he backheeled it, took a glance behind and then just like moved on. Like, okay, what was the big deal with that? And it was just quite unbelievable. As for signing him, you know, if Gerrard has said, look, he's going to have to be here. Well, there are a few boxes that need to be ticked. The money we can overcome. The training facilities. I mean, everybody says that everybody seems to be amazed that goes there. So it's obviously one of the best facilities in the world that we've got. The supporters love him.
Yep.
Check. And, you know, he seems to have a base of friends. We were talking off air that you guys were saying that he's even good at, you know, he goes bowling with the other South American boys and he's quite good at that. The one thing that will be missing is the club's ambition. Now, the owners can sell him on that and Gerrard can sell him on that. But he's going to want to see some fairly serious names come in the next transfer window, or at least the club needs to be able to say, well, we are in serious talks with these people to cement that ambition. And I think if we can do that, then I think he'll stay. He seems happy enough. He seems content enough, and we're checking all the boxes. So I'd like to see him stay. As for the game, look at it from Leeds' perspective. They seem to have a couple of tactics. One was to run as fast as they can with the ball and then give it up rather easily. The other was to try and it was a bit of an odd one. They tried to isolate all of our better players without actually realizing that all of our players are better than theirs. So that tactic didn't work too well. And the third one, and I swear they must have had it in their match day program, was to constantly sing Tyrone Mings is fucking shit to try and put him off his game. That seemed to be their biggest tactic, and that didn't work either. So it just generally fell apart for Leeds spectacularly.
They tried to target him early on and off the pitch. I mean, they were all the long balls were going to Mings, and they were when we had the ball at the back four, they were backing off, letting us have it until Mings got the ball. Then they were closing. So that was a real tactic, and I think that just shows Mings' strength of character that he, you know, because he had a couple of little dodgy passes and, you know, looked a little bit nervous in that first 5 or 10 minutes. But then after he got over that, I thought he had a great game. Tommy, what did you think of the back four and Mings especially?
I think there's someone. I think two of the back four were exceptional. I think Cash was ideally man of the match. I think we're all forgetting that goal line block he basically made, where there were two players behind him, and had he not have cut across to stop Rafinha's ball in, you know, they would have levelled, I think, at the time. In Callum Chambers, he's certainly going to keep Conser on the pine for a little while, you know, because we said, well, did an amazing ball to Coutinho with the outside of the foot as a centre-back, you know, someone who they say, it's past his best, he's a free agent, and he goes and pulls a worldie, you know, pretty good goal for a centre-back. You know, that angle, that degree of difficulty, and to put in the corner, and you can see the passion just when he went to celebrate with the Villa fans. I think it was just more of a relief, and, you know, it shows he still deserves to be in the Prem. So I think it's like NBA. You sign one of those gems in free agent and they become really good. And I think we've got a pretty good player on our hand with Chambers. And, you know, unfortunately for Horse, I think he's probably definitely slipped down to fourth choice centre-back now.
But it's good to have that competition, you know, like...
I understand, But I said Chambers is a genuine goal threat. If he's not assisting, he's scoring. And as a centre-back, I don't know the stats, and this is to Noah and maybe even Aman. I wonder if that's the fastest goal a centre-back has ever scored at Villa in terms of how many starts. That's what I want to know, Noah. That's on you. So what's that, his second or it's his third start, I think. 3 clean sheets and a goal and an incredible pass to Coutinho, who provided this last week. I wonder if that's the best start to a centre-back's career at Villa.
Well, yeah, I mean, we definitely get an upside with his attacking play.
And he's a big guy. He's a big unit.
Yeah, over someone like Konsa, who, you know, basically just does his defending and then, you know, gives the ball to the midfielders and just says, my job's done. You know, Chambers is bending one into the top corner from, you know, 20 yards out. So, yeah, it was fantastic to see that. And before that, we had Matty Cash's goal in the second half, which was the sealer. We had a few moments late in the first half. McGinn had a great shot where Coutinho again just did a little back heel to him in the channel, and you know, it was a great save by the Leeds keeper. And then, but in the second half, it was a fantastic ball by Danny Ings to to Matty Cash. He takes a great first touch, comes in on his left foot and puts it away.
Look, all the goals were absolutely superb. They all worked. I think in the second half, we had the ability to revert to type. That is, we're quite happy to have 35, 40% possession, let the other team dominate a little bit. And when they lose the ball, we hammer them. That was our tactics tended to be the same last week against Southampton, who were a very similar side. They're happy to have the other team have more of the possession and then compress them for space. So the Southampton game was interesting. I thought that this could tear a hole in time and space. Gerrard again, though, he got his tactics right. He seems to be, I argued a couple of weeks ago that, the system isn't working for him. So he needs to change the system to suit the players. And I know you, Scott, said, well, no, the players need to suit the system and he needs to stick to his guns. And he certainly has stuck to his guns. And the players seem to have gotten used to what he's doing. Leeds probably isn't the best guide because, quite frankly, they're shit. As Tommy said at the top of the show, they're awful. They are galactically awful. I had my money on Everton to go down, but I can't see Everton being worse than this. There's just no way.
Leeds slipping into that now. I've seen they're about 3 points out of relegation. I think some of the teams have a game in hand.
They've conceded something like 65 goals this season.
Yeah,
it's phenomenal. Their manager seems to have taken the manager seems to have taken the energy that Bielsa had got them trained to, but taken out any of the clue. They seem to stream forward and get the ball and not have an idea what they've done with it. So I don't think this American guy's going to last very long at all. Apparently, I had a look, a brief glimpse. I read about 10 pages on the Leeds forum. It looks like they're up for sale. And the 49ers, there was a lot of reference to the 49ers. So I don't know whether that's the group who own the San Francisco.
Maybe the same owner. Yeah.
Well, they're going to want to stay up if they're going up for sale, because if they go down, as we know as Villa fans, the price of the club comes down dramatically. So you don't want Tony Gia situation buying the club.
No, and there was the fans are saying that, obviously the owners don't want to spend money if they're in the process of selling, but they desperately needed to have spent money in the last couple of windows to guarantee they're going to stay up. Because as you said, Scottie, if they go down, it changes the ball game completely. And I think many potential owners will be watching the games thinking, you can go down, that's fine. We'll save big bucks. This
is a good segue to our speaking of owners. I guess so. First, we'll start with Edens and Wes Edens and Nassef Sawiris, one's owned the Milwaukee Bucks. I think there's someone else, it's an NFL team and it just seems like an all-round business mogul. Same with Sawiris, part owner of Adidas or something like that. And we've got two big owners that back the club and as much as we'll give Tony G a stick, it seems like he really found people that are going to back Villa and, we can give him some credit for that. As for his dodgy, Chinese subsidiaries, that's a different story. I think Edens and Sawiris have really backed every coach that's coming. I think Dean Smith was very good at building a good team with peanuts. I think Dean Smith also, one of his own downfalls was he didn't know what to do when he had a lot of money. Where I think with Gerrard, knows the quality. I don't give a crap if we go and sign Wijnaldum, who I see we're linked with, because I think he was trying to get the Liverpool band back together. These are quality players that we certainly wouldn't have attracted at the time. Yeah. And he seems that he can really revive careers. And that's a really big thing. And that brings me to another thing. Marcus Rashford, I heard he's very unsettled at United. I've seen a link with Villa. And I saw on a Facebook forum, this was just from a neutral fan. He goes, Rashford should go to Aston Villa. That team is promising since Gerrard took over. So non-Villa fans are starting to take notice. And I think after the stream of performances we've recently put in, had a little bit of a bad patch. And I think, like Will said, is his honeymoon period over? I think Gerrard went back to the group with Beale and co, recalibrated. All right, what do we need to change? What's working? What's not? And boom, we look a brand new team. We almost look like a new coach has come in the last 3 games after what we were, displaying. Yeah. The chances were there, or the effort was there. Just the execution on the final ball. He's got Ollie scoring again. Ings, I think, is just a couple goals short, from being, really worth his price tag at the moment. Putting in a great shift again. He's getting assists. I think he got the assist to Cash. So again, just
that was such a good pass.
What a pass!
Not just to see it, but the trajectory of the pass, the speed of the pass,
way it was a perfect ball.
He couldn't have played that any other way, because if he had like lobbed it to the back post, Cash would have been closed down, and and if he couldn't just knock it because, there was people in the way, it needed to be just overhead height, fizzed in, and it was perfect. Like that was.
It went through, I think, 3 to 5 leads, but just like just the glide on it. Now,
and if you watch it again, as soon as the goal goes in, Coutinho doesn't run to Cash. He turns around and points to Ings and says, "What a ball! Like that was you." Yeah. It was fantastic.
And I think Ings knows. I believe this. Again, he hasn't given us that 20, 25 goals yet. Next season or rest that says, we hope he scores. I think he says, how can I contribute? I'm starting now. Me and Ollie have got something going. We're definitely seeing a lot of love. I see when anyone scores, Ings is the first one to celebrate. So I don't know if it's an attitude thing, because we see him like throwing his shin pads, and he was probably frustrated when he came to Villa, because came here, with a big, repertoire, and he knows why we signed him, and he wasn't banging him in, and then he's getting subbed off, which he's probably not used to. He was the man at Southampton, and he doesn't want another Liverpool situation again. Yeah. So I think he thinks, how can I contribute to this team? And I think we've got a real sense of unity at the moment, and that's important. Yeah. Just goals are coming from everywhere. I think everyone's a threat, like Troy said, and you can't isolate the whole team. If there's one good player like Jack, when teams double teamed him, he had freed up other players. But I mean, this team right now is probably one of the best squads we've had for a while.
It definitely is, and I think we're just getting contributions from all over the field. Luca Dean, he's come in. He's an upgrade to Target. Chambers has come in. He's like, he's come in. He's doing great things. He's given us an extra option at centre back, and the goal he scored, Troy. I mean, that could have been, Coutinho or someone like that, because Mings does well at the back post, keeps the ball alive, plays it back to him, and he doesn't even have a second thought. It's just bang, top corner. What a goal!
Yeah. It was a goal, and if you put together a bit of a spread as to who's gonna get our next assist in the next game and who's gonna score, I think it would be evenly spread. Whereas if you go back 12 months, I think the vast majority of people would have had Jack as the assist and Watkins as a scorer, and there's not a lot of contribution from elsewhere. What do you got there, Tommy?
I was going to say, this, speaking of the unity, that's a great thing. Buendia. So he's obviously continues come in and taking his spot. Now, I don't know if anyone else noticed at halftime what I did. And again, this is the sense of unity we have. And obviously, it's part of that little South American contingency. Look at Buendia, what he goes and does. And mind you, he's on the bench because of Coutinho.
Right.
Look at this. Whispers a few words of wisdom into him, encouragement. That is support, and that is, you don't get that from a lot of players.
And when
it's interesting, isn't it, that people make a big deal out of the South American connection. But you can imagine if you were playing in South America and you're a European, going, Scottie Cooper's he gets along really well with the Germans. You'd be like, really? No, just because we're from Europe. But there does seem to be a South American flair happening with Villa, and they all get along with each other. Just going back to the sense of unity and what Tommy was talking about with Sawiris. I think that sense of unity extends beyond the players. When Sawiris first signed, Tommy mentioned that he's the largest single shareholder in Adidas.
Adidas or something.
Mm-hmm. I think he's the richest man in Africa.
Yeah, you would think. Is he really?
I think he's one of the richest men in Africa, if not the richest.
Okay. Well, legally speaking, he's Egyptian.
Yeah.
He's Egyptian. Now, when he first came, I thought, you know what, that's the nail in the coffin for that Luke guy I thought we're going to get Adidas for sure. But you know what? All to his credit, he hasn't sort of said, okay, well, let's do a deal with Adidas. He's like, well, here's a local lad. Let's support him, and that just blew my mind. And that just has a sense of belonging, not just on the pitch, not just with the players and in the changing rooms, but off the pitch as well. And I can only imagine that day-to-day running of the club is similar across the board. What concerns me, though, I don't know what Sawiris is.
He's the fourth. He's the fourth.
Is the fourth?
And literally by 100 million, he's off third.
Oh, just 100 million.
Oh, is that all?
Yeah, the richest guy is some guy.
Hang on.
Dangote.
I've got that down the back of the couch somewhere.
That's it.
Look, what concerns me about Sawiris is I don't know what his political connections are. And if we have a look at what's going on with Chelsea, while obviously Abramovich has to be sanctioned because he has direct connections to Putin, the way the government have gone about hammering Chelsea is just wrong. Barclays have frozen the bank account. So, the people like the canteen staff, the stewards, the people who run the day-to-day operations of the club, whose livelihoods, just to top up their wage of a weekend, depending upon this. The fans, okay, nobody particularly loves Chelsea fans, and we're all enjoying winding them up. But you try and put yourself in your position if that was your club, what has this got to do with me? Now, they have a license. I believe they have a license to operate till the end of the season, and what will happen with that license, who knows? Obviously, Abramovich, he still gets to say who he sells it to and how much he sells it for. I think the government are absolutely nowhere on this, and I think it should scare a lot of people. If you have a look at why they're hammering him, fine, but they should also be hammering the Saudis, but they're not doing it. Now, what happens if there's suddenly a breakout? The extension of the Ukraine breaks into the Middle East, and suddenly Egypt are hammering Israel. Is Sawiris politically injected anywhere that we could end up with sanctions as a club because of our ownership? Who knows? But I think what's happening with Chelsea at the moment, I think the government have the best intentions, but I really think they're going the wrong way about it.
Look,
also,
it opens up a big can of worms.
It does. I was going to say, I'd look into the industries they're operating. I think Abramovich is big oil tycoon or gas, something like that. So again, these are very, there's specific industries where there's a lot of wealth and, the credibility behind it. That's questionable. And I'm just having a look at what Sawiris is, what contributes towards his net worth. So he owns 30% of OCI. It's a Dutch-based fertilizer producer. And basically it's a demerged company from his parents' original business, Orascom Construction. He also he includes he owns 6% of Adidas Global. Yeah. And also he has a big stake
6% is massive.
That's huge. Yeah. So of all of Adidas, he owns 6%. And then he owns a big stake in what's called Lafarge Holcim, the world's largest cement maker. So I'd say these are probably industries that are safer than oil, than gas,
and it's probably
thanks, Noah.
It's less political as well. It's like oil and gas, has been used as there's been wars over oil and gas, in the past, whereas fertilizer and fertilizer, and sports equipment, probably not so much. So but
ethical investments is probably, it's much more ethical.
But here's the thing, though, the British government are still buying oil and gas off the Russians. So their stance is, we're going to continue buying oil and gas, but we're going to punish the people who are supplying the oil and gas. It's just very weird.
Unless you sign NATO, you're all good.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's a huge can of worms that they've opened, the government. I think that, something needed to happen over Abramovich, but, freezing all these assets like they have, I think, like you said, I think if Newcastle was up for sale today, they wouldn't allow the Saudis to buy them because it was only a couple of months ago before all this happened. That's the only reason I think this has gone through without anyone saying anything because.
But everyone, how come all neutrals could see it? They're like, this isn't right. At least you have Bill Gates or Elon Musk, right, a billionaire, trillionaire, whatever they are. Let one person buy you, but to let a consortium, there's no culture behind that. They're just dead on the inside. It's a company that bought you, not a person. Person is passionate about.
It's a government.
That's right.
And not a very clean government. I mean, if we're going to start saying, the Russian government are monsters, which they are, for what they're doing in the Ukraine, we need to start, saying, well, what about the Saudi government in Yemen, or what about the American government in Somalia, or
no. But PIF signed a document to the government that said the Saudi government is not involved in Newcastle, so that makes it true.
Sure. Well, sure. Okay.
What I'd say is also I respect people like Wes Edens who own other sports teams, and I think you create a culture across all of them. The Bucks, I'm sure he's trying to emulate certain things of Villa, and he knows that he's got to inject money, he's got to keep his teams competitive. And I think you maybe a bit of good karma that the Bucks won the NBA a bit by building a team. They didn't go and sign all these big names. They had Antetokounmpo. I think they signed Middleton. Basically, they had a good team. They didn't go sign big names to try and build a super team like you see in all sports. He's done it the right way, and that's why Giannis Antetokounmpo, MVP, whatever. Finally, he said this is the right way. He goes, this is how you win things. You stay with your team, you build something, and you look at Sawiris and Edens. Even now, look, what is the Vegas Villains? I think they're going to call them. So they're actually looking to expand the Villa brand, kind of like what Man City are doing. So I mean, we can give Man City crap, but at least they're trying to expand the footballing brand elsewhere.
I saw Greg
Sorry,
Evans.
Scottie.
I saw Greg Evans, who's the Villa writer for the Athletic. He was talking about like the Villa plan through Wes Edens and Navarro.
Mate, there's a vision like 10 years ahead, and that's what you want. Like, that's a journey.
Feeder clubs was one of the big things. So we want to get maybe a lower league Belgium league team or something, or that we can send some of our youngsters to for a bit of experience.
That's good. I think it'll be Danish. And it'll be Johan Lange that probably pulls those strings.
It'll also probably be the Las Vegas Villains as well.
True.
If they come on board, then why not? And I think
I think that's a way to kind of pass money through and stuff as well.
Yeah, Man City have done it with the New York City and
Melbourne City.
Yeah. So
Melbourne, yeah.
I think that's a positive move, and it just shows like these guys are here for the long haul. They're not just going to come and like Randy Lerner, lose interest in a couple of years.
Well, I mean, here in the Cleveland Browns, and that's again, like you look at the other teams, the Browns have been shit for years.
Exactly.
Exactly. It was a big part of that. And I said, well,
that
culture's bound to permeate to Villa. Exactly. Like if he gave up on one team, what's he going to do elsewhere? Again, the Bucks are just such a good team, and a lot of neutral fans love the Bucks. You can't hate them. They've drafted well. They've done things right. It's an organization run well. And that starts from the top.
And they're kind of like a Villa in the, they're not the most glamorous sort of city. They're not LA or a New York. They're Milwaukee, and Birmingham's kind of probably got a similar kind of feel about it in England, and but they've seen the potential, and hopefully we have as much success as they have. Let's move on to West Ham. And to our predictions going forward for that. We've won 3 in a row now. West Ham, they played on the same night we did, Thursday night, but they were away in Spain in the Europa League. They lost 1-0 to Seville. So they had it's a very, very tough game. I watched a bit of that, and just to see.
How'd they perform?
They were under the cosh. They lost 1-0, but they had a couple of
chances. Sevilla's
a
good team, though. They're very good.
Exactly. It looked like that could have taken a bit out of them. Hopefully it has. But
any injuries?
Not that I know of, no. But I think maybe Bowen perhaps might have something. I'm not sure. I have to check that.
That's good.
But like looking forward, how do you think that game's going to go, Troy?
Declan Rice will run their midfield for him, and I don't think it'll be as fast a game as we saw against Leeds. I think the tempo will be a little bit lower, it'll be a little bit more controlled. Yeah, I think we'll be happy to give them 60% possession again, and we'll operate with a 40. It'll be a midfield battle, and I think we've got it. I think now. If you'd asked me 3 weeks ago, I would have said we're going to get pumped 4-0. But I got a feeling we might just shade it with a spawny goal. So I'll go for a 1-0 win. Same team.
Yep, Tommy.
If Bowen plays, I can see like a 2-1. I'm being optimistic, 2-1 to us, but I think Bowen will score for them. I think Sanson, if he starts again, I thought he was exceptional when he came on. Sanson can take Rice out of the game. You can keep up with him, and so if I think I'm thinking 2-1 Villa. If Bowen plays, if not, I think maybe 1-0. It'll be low scoring and boring. That's the West Ham way. They don't plow teams. They'll just it's possession, all this shit, and like it's the scoreboard.
I'll go 1-1. I think it's
going
to be a tough
game too.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough game. I think Ramsey will score for us. I think with their midfield of Rice and Souček, I think they're very strong, hard, kind of good players, very technical players. But
they're very slow.
Exactly. And I think Ramsey, he's got the pace to maybe drive out of that midfield and maybe nick something because he is dewy. A lot of people gave him a hard time on Thursday night on Twitter about his performance, but I thought he did a lot of good things without the final product. He was just a little bit sloppy, but his actual running and his kind of dribbling of the ball was really good. Tommy, you're muted.
I said he put his ball to Ollie was really good. The one where Ollie, I think, into the keeper, into Melier. Yeah, I thought it was a great ball by Ramsey. So again, just that little glimpse of brilliance. And I love that he's always looking to get forward now. Someone that didn't get enough credit, I know I give him stick. I do think he's sometimes droppable. John McGinn, he done this amazing chase down on Rafinha or someone, won the ball, clean play, and I think they fouled him or something. I thought that was incredible. First half, when they were on the counter, and that's how we've been caught out on the counter a few times. And Leeds are a fast mob.
And I thought our
the people on the Leeds forum actually said, a couple of people on the Leeds forum said, we've got no one in our midfield who can even come close to McGinn, and he's not our best midfielder. So they notice how good he is as well. He keeps things.
I love McGinn, but if we sign, again, thanks Leeds, I do hope you go down, just because I would love Calvin Phillips. I've seen us linked with him. We've been linked with Phillips, Basuma. I think Frank Kessie's probably going to go to Barca, but just Basuma and Phillips to be linked with these players and possibly even get them now. Now that maybe Chelsea's out of the race for some of these guys.
But wouldn't they replace
the biggest problem
Dougie Luiz?
I think they've replaced McGinn. I know it sounds stupid, but he's just an engine. He's not a tackler. He doesn't dictate play in the midfield. He's just a big engine that runs like a loose chicken. Yes, we need a player like that, but he's being played out of position, and he can't start in front of Coutinho. I think he was being playing out of position a couple of weeks ago, but since we've had this slight tweak to the system,
he's come back in the middle a bit more.
Yeah, and he can get forward more. I think I'm with you. I think he's more of an 8, maybe a 10 sort of player.
100%. 100%. For Scotland, he does it.
Yeah, but in our team we got Coutinho. He can't play there, right? So
no.
So
Coutinho's really just it's put an issue on everyone. Like if it was Buendia, you're you can compare, but it's a different gravy with Coutinho, and that's what I mean. He's literally unblockable.
Yeah, I think he's
another biggest sign that we might be looking at getting.
He
does. The biggest sign I think that we're going to get rid of McGinn is the fact that we haven't actually pushed the boat out to buy him a top that fits him. He's playing in a top that's one size too small.
Or is he put on weight?
Have you noticed that?
Is he put on weight? Also, Scott, I'm putting this to you, Scott, and there's a few things I'm pointing out today. So, if Grealish doesn't get game time at Man City next year, do you think there could be a loan with the option to buy, and maybe they just put their hand on their head and say, look, it didn't work out?
Look,
I'm not seeing as much love at Man City as I thought I would, and we all wanted him. Hey, I hope he starts. I hope he 20 goals, bag of assists. He ain't getting love.
I think maybe in a couple of years that could happen, but I don't think next year. I think.
Do you think he could force a move back?
No, I actually think he'll finish the season quite well for them this season. And
okay.
Because I watched him against United, he was pretty good. I think, but who knows? I mean, I don't think they're going to give up on him yet. Even someone like Coutinho. Even someone like Coutinho, who was absolutely terrible for Barcelona, he was still there 18 months, 2 years before he came to us. It's not easy to shift someone earning that much, and it looks bad for the club first of all. And
but do they care though? Like I said, it's just oil money to them. It's just a game, Scott. It's a tax write-off,
Yeah, but I don't think
Pep says he's happy with him. Pep said he said he didn't sign him to score 45 goals a season, and Pep never lies.
Pep said he loved Ibrahimovic too, but Ibrahimovic saying other things, still hates him to this day.
That's right.
It's true. Yeah. It's true. Well, that would be awesome. Can you imagine Coutinho and Grealish?
My God. That would be that's what I was thinking.
Mad,
I said,
but
like Ings or Ollie, I don't give a shit if they're both dropped. You've got Coutinho and Jack. We'll find a way to make it work.
Yeah, we'll find something. But I think that,
and that's why we say we've got to keep the love there still. Like all these, Jack's dead to us, dude. I'd welcome him back with wide open arms if he's 30. What he'd bring to the club and bring back. It's almost like Gareth Barry, but it's actually coming back home for once, not pissing off to Everton and ending up at West Brom. I mean, like, you know, we say, oh, he's Villan through and through. I'm like, sign for fucking West Brom.
Yeah, look, I think I think that kind of thing has died down a bit recently. I think the fact that he's playing a little bit better for them, and we've got Coutinho now, and we're over it.
Everyone.
Yeah. So I don't think there's as much hate going on, and I mean, who knows what happens in a few years? But I can't see anything happening before then. But look, it was a great game. I think we should probably wrap it up there. We touched on Chelsea and what's going on with there. We're going to talk on Monday after the West Ham game on the podcast there a bit about the Emi Martinez.
Tomorrow? Is it tomorrow morning? Tomorrow morning or Monday morning?
Sunday night our time. Monday morning your time.
Fuck off.
But yeah, that might be your time, Scotty. That's not our time.
Monday morning your time.
1 a.m. Could make that. We're good. It's a public holiday in Victoria Monday.
It's not here. So
why?
Labor Day.
Yeah, we had that last
week. We work very hard. We're very labor intensive, so they give us the day off.
Right. Well,
midnight.
Looking forward to that. But yeah, we'll talk a bit about that Emi Martinez documentary on the next show.
Put the link up. Link up if you can.
I will do. And we'll also have the quiz round 9. So looking forward to that. And
Aman's on the questions. These could either be really easy or really hard.
I know. It's going to be a bit different.
It'll be hard.
Troy's in the lead now. So, you know, Noah's going to be coming
Surprise
hard.
package.
And Tommy, you need to win.
I started so good.
Oh, last week I thought you were going to do it.
I thought, fuck it, all right.
Oh, that's why Noah's not here. He's studying, isn't he?
My big win was literally just a scrape through that time. So no, it's been the Black Sea questions still to this day.
Well, maybe with the Aman questions, you might be good. So there you go.
Come on, Aman, look after me, will you?
Yeah.
Flip your 20.
Right. Have you seen them, Scotty?
I have not seen them yet. He's sending them across.
Oh, Scott's participating in it.
No, I'm not participating. I'll just be keeping the score, and because it's you 3 this season. At the end of the season,
he can be like the chick in the wrestling or the boxing with the little.
That's it. I'll
get your moves out.
I'll just be
the person.
I'll just try and keep everyone in line and be the adjudicator and read the questions out or whatever. But Aman's coming up with them this week, so looking forward to that. But thanks again, everyone, for liking and subscribing. We're over 150 now, which is great.
Well, on 150 exactly.
Okay, well, there you go. And it's been great. All your the last video got a lot of views, so thanks again for that. And really looking forward to West Ham.
Richard G. Who's Richard G? That seems like a new person.
Yeah, we got a new subscriber.
I like it. Good questions, Richard. So I'll just give him a quick shout at him. Oh, I'm guessing it's to him.
Thanks, Richard, for your comments.
Based on just a quick we gave Jay Ward-Prowse 1 free kick. Felipe could have scored 4 goals first half and only missed a 1-1. So 9-0 after an hour was not unreasonable. He goes, and I love the battling for the clean sheet second half. P.S. If Ollie lifted his shots, he'd double his goals. I was like, right. So Richard G.
There you go.
We're paying attention.
Richard. And thank you, everyone else. And we will be back after Sunday night's game against West Ham. So up the Villa, and let's go for 4 wins in a row. All right. See you all later.
Say hi to your mum for me.
Thanks, guys. Take it easy. See ya.
See ya.